And we're live in 5, 4, 3, 2, and
welcome, and thank you for joining us today for Creative Growth's auction party. My name is Sarah Gallender-Meyer. I'm the gallery director here at Creative Growth. I am a woman with dark hair and glasses. And today I am joined with co-hosts Ray Vickers and Susan Janow, artists here at Creative Growth. Ray, Susan, come in. Are you there?
Hey, how you doing?
I am here. Woo,
hey, thanks for joining us. How are you guys doing?
Awesome.
We miss you. We're ready to start this reopening fund so that we can reopen the studio this summer.
That'll be good.
That'd be awesome.
Awesome. And we're also joined by Kari Borja.
Hi, I'm a Guamanian woman with a black ponytail and a board member and a visiting artist at Creative Growth. We're also here with Hannah Kianzel, who will be providing ASL interpretation, and Ryan Whalen.
hey everyone, I'm Ryan. I'm the gallery manager here at Creative Growth, and I have dark curly hair, and I'm a male, and I have glasses, and I will be taking your pledge calls for the next hour.
Thanks.
Hello? Hello?
Hi, Elizabeth.
Susie, hi! It's so good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm awesome. How are you?
Yes, you are awesome, and you're gorgeous. You look absolutely gorgeous today.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I'm doing fine. I miss you very much, and I miss Ray and all the artists in the studio. So this is really a wonderful time to be connecting and seeing you again. So to all our friends out in the virtual world, I am Elizabeth Broderson, the Executive Director of Creative Growth. I am a woman with light brown hair, wearing red glasses and a red dress. And I'm really excited to welcome you to the launch of our art auction, the first one we've had in many years, and also to the launch of our reopening fund, which will help us get back into the studio and so we can all be together making art. So as you probably know, we've been closed for 14 months since the pandemic forced us to shelter in place, but we've been able to stay in touch with all the artists and connected by providing online classes and home art supply deliveries and one-on-one support. And we're really looking forward to being together in person starting in July in small groups. At the same time, we will have to continue our online programming to make sure that everybody has access to the resources they need to continue to express themselves creatively. So we're really hoping that you will all consider, in addition to bidding on the beautiful pieces of art from our archive, consider making a gift to the reopening fund. So I would like to kick things off today by making the first gift of $1,000 to the Creative Growth Reopening Fund. Yay!
Yay!
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for your
Elizabeth.
generous donation to get today, to
Thank
get
you.
us started
Yep,
on our fund today.
great.
And
So
for the rest of,
goodbye.
see you later, Elizabeth.
Bye.
And for the rest of you out there, you can also start donating by texting to the number 56651, Creative Growth, all one word. Again, the number is 56651, the word Creative Growth, and it is down below on your screen. So let's take it back to our hosts, Susan and Ray. Come in, Susan, Ray.
I'm here.
I'm here.
So I know you both have been really active in our online programming since we had to close the studio. How are you finding it? How are you doing with it?
It's going great.
It gets kind of, yeah, like we know what the background noise is. Frustrating sometimes, but I just deal, I cope with it. I just deal with it.
Yeah, I understand.
And Ray, Susan,
Yes.
tell us what you've been.
Say it again.
Tell us what you've been working on.
Oh, right. Well, let's see. Recently, I haven't worked on nothing new recently. Nothing of my own, actually. I'm trying to make a little effect for my photography, but I'm waiting till next month to buy one more supply, but nothing really major.
And Susan, tell us what you've been working on.
I've been working on a quilt that Meadow gave me, and it's almost finished.
That's wonderful. Lots of color.
Oh, yes.
Fabulous. Thank you.
Thanks,
You're
Susan and Ray.
You're welcome.
So we'll come back to you guys in a few minutes, but right now we're going to watch a short clip about creative growth for those of you out there who may not be as familiar with creative growth. And then we're going to hear from Tom DiMaria about some of the artwork and artists who are in our auction.
Creative Growth was founded in 1974 as the first arts and disability center in the world. And it was very important because it wasn't founded as a place for people with disabilities to come and somehow be sheltered. It was founded as a place for people to become artists. Because of the lives they led, there is part of their disability that influences their work, but their work transcends their disability. The way that our artists get to be exhibited in museum venues, galleries around the world, art fairs, to have creative growth artists participate in that breaks glass ceilings, it breaks down barriers, it allows people who might not have communicated with people with developmental disabilities to have an exchange with them. There's probably nothing more poignant that an artist can do than create a world that they give you the privilege of entering into with them. It's the way they're gonna say, look at me, I'm a person in the world the same as you, and this is what I'm thinking about. This is who I am. It's Creative Growth's mission to understand how everyone is a part of the creative community, and that to understand who we are as artists, to understand who we are as people, isn't that what we all want?
Hi, everybody. I'm so glad you could join us for this auction preview. And what I'm going to do today is talk about a couple of the earlier artists, for the most part, from Creative Growth, in a little bit of our history, because you have an extraordinary chance to really look at some of the works that haven't been seen at Creative Growth for a while. So I'm going to bring up some of the images that we have in the auction, and we're going to take a look. Great, so let's get started and look at some of the alumni artists that we have in the auction today. Earlier artists that you may not all be familiar with, even though some of them are quite well known. Just a quick piece of history. This is the building that Creative Growth now resides in. It used to be Sal's Auto Body, the warehouse up in the upper left. And inside is one of the early photographs with early Creative Growth founders, the Katzes, coming to look at it and see if it would be our home. And it did become our home. And you'll see at the bottom what it looks like today, pre-pandemic, filled with people and art. And the idea is always that it was a big art space, artists run, and everyone would see each other, one big communal space. So since 1974, all these people have been making all this art all these years, and it's in our archive. We have an amazing archive, floors of it upstairs in the building. That you don't get to see because it's really hard to access. So we've pulled out a couple of gems. We think from some of our early artists like Donald Patterson. And Donald and our early artists were very marginalized from society. Most were institutionalized. And they came to Creative Growth and were asked to be creative for the first time in their life. And one of the things they often used for inspiration was pop culture, of course, because those were one of the few reference points they had. And here we see Donald. Right behind him is the Three Faces of Elvis poster, which we'll get to see in a minute. It's also interesting to note that in the very beginning, Creative Growth worked with contemporary artists. So here we have an extraordinary poster from when Joan Brown and Donald Patterson showed together at the Creative Growth Gallery. And the idea that such a celebrated, well-known California artist such as Joan Brown would have been working the very early years at a art center for people with disabilities is really extraordinary on her part and on the organization's part to really have artists work together. And that's always been a really important founding principle. And here's Donald with Joan at the opening, an amazing photograph. And this is the work of Donald's that we have in the auction. It's called Three Faces of Elvis, and it was very well known at the time. This is a screen print, so it's not unique. We have 10 available, and they're quite amazing. And you see the repetition of the patterning and the lie. It's very hypnotic almost. Another early artist was Regina Broussard. And Regina came to Creative Growth after a very troubled early life and found a sense of freedom and expressiveness and fantasy in the work. Here we see her holding a figure of an angel and this idea of finding freedom in the self-portrait. And in her work, often it's very fantasized. And here the idea of these two queens, somebody she might want to become. Look at the shoes. And if you look at the patterns around the women, very much like hieroglyphics, we'll see if you look along the left to right, you'll see a bowl of ice cream, you see a cup of coffee, you see muffins. This is all food, chocolate chip cookies, cakes, ice cream cones between the two women. And if you look at the circles and look down, she's changing the perspective. So we're looking directly at these two women, and then we're looking down onto the plate of food. And all those rounds, those are eggs and muffins and pancakes. Primarily, they were almost always breakfast. Another early artist was Louis Estape. And Louis was born in Honduras and came to Creative Growth early on, very religious and spiritual. And his work had a kind of Afro-Caribbean style and coloration from things that he saw as a boy. And he really loved the idea of angel and devil in his work, or two voices speaking. On the image of the left, we see the male figure, and then the Queen of Hearts on the right on the wood. He worked primarily on wood. And look at her heart-shaped face and the arrow through her heart. And they were really a very, he created these characters that had these emotions and passion that were so amazing. And that's Louis on the right working on wood sculpture. And the piece we have from him in the auction is rare in that it's black and white, but you'll see all the rocket ships and moon and sun and people and the crucifix on the head and the incredible black and white patterning that's in that kind of hypnotic pattern. A really striking and unusual piece by Louis. So those artists were known in Oakland, and it really wasn't until the work of Dwight McIntosh sort of left Creative Growth that we moved into a new era of exhibiting our work internationally. And Dwight had a remarkable story. He was institutionalized at age 12 and was deinstitutionalized at age 72. Alone for those 60 years, he comes to Creative Growth without any kind of training and makes work into his late 90s. And when he was a boy going into the institution, he was going to have his tonsils out. So they took a x-ray of his throat and he got to see it. And it greatly influenced his work. Imagine thinking about an x-ray vision for 60 years. And then it's manifest here in his work when we've seen through these four male figures, through their bones and their toes and in every part of them, and the face is sliced in the hair. It's a kind of a personalized sort of cubism. And also Louis invented a kind of language, a script here that's often in the work. This is a great example of it. And it really wasn't until 2004 or so at an exhibition of his work at the Art Group Museum in Lausanne, Switzerland, that I started to see some of these sentences from decades or many years apart that were the exact patterns. So while this language doesn't have meaning to us, it had meaning to him, and these are not random. They repeated completely the same in other examples. So it really becomes this personalized environment, kind of communication, has meaning for the artist that's beyond what we often can come to value or understand about it. And Louis also had an early Lollapalooza poster. So this poster is really interesting, both in terms of music history and also the use of his work on a poster. The musician Michael Stipe from REM is an early outsider art collector. and had some of Dwight's drawings that he brought to the Time Warner office in LA, which was his recording label, as I understand it. And Time Warner was involved in the organization of Lollapalooza, and Dwight's drawing here, this X-ray of this figure, almost like playing a drum or a stringed instrument, was on the poster in 1994. So we have 10 of those available. They're lithograph posters. And then following his footsteps is Judith Scott, whose life story is not unlike his. Born a twin, she has Down syndrome. Her sister Joyce does not. The girls spend a few years together before Judith is institutionalized. Judith is also deaf, and it wasn't known that she was deaf, so she doesn't really acquire language of any sort in the institution. Is deinstitutionalized through the grace of her sister. It comes to creative growth in her 40s and begins a practice of what eventually becomes accumulating objects and wrapping them in fiber and fabric. And the idea of building these private, cocooned, personalized spaces of safety, I think, reflect her life in the institution where nothing is really yours. And Judith would hide these under the table at the end of the day for fear that they would be stolen or wouldn't be there when she came back the next day. What's much less known about Judith is she spent about 2 years at Creative Growth before she really made any sculptures. And during that time, she made just a handful of drawings. And this is one that's quite rare. And if you see this, it predates the sculptures. It really is an indication of what she's trying to do. Take these threads and these fibers and build these bundles in these colorful patterns. And it's really previsions the 150 sculptures she would make during her career. And of course, her work is in major museum collections around the world. And two more contemporary artists, John Mullins. John Mullins, for me, his work is very important because John is deaf. If you notice his headphones, he tries to listen to music by absorbing the vibrations and the sound of the bass. And in his practice, he's making objects about listening music, such as boomboxes. So it's really, we often see that sometimes when one path is blocked, others become stronger. He has a different way to find his path towards hearing music than you or I might have. And he made these drawings of boomboxes on paper at first, and then he started to make them as sculptures. So this is a acrylic on a boombox painted. And John no longer works with us. So there aren't many of these left, and it's a really beautiful piece. John's work was very popular in the art fairs that we did in Miami, the New Art Dealers Association. And lastly, John Hiltunen, who sadly passed away just before the pandemic. John is an example of an artist that was influenced by our visiting artist program, which still flourishes at Creative Growth. The Canadian artist, Paul Butler, and his nomadic collage party came to Creative Growth. And if you live in Oakland, you've probably participated because they're open to the public. And all kinds of materials are around, and the public is invited to find a path towards collage, and John did. And he flourished and became the mainstay of his artistic practice to take figures of models and replace them with animal heads. And he does it in a very thoughtful way so that the expression, the proportions, the color of the animal and the model's hair really come together in an organic and powerful way that creates this person that's almost more lifelike than the original photograph would have had. So those are some great pieces we have. Thanks for joining and hearing about these early artists. They're amazing. So take a look at all of the selections, and I hope you get something that you really love for your collection. Bye.
Welcome back, everyone. I want to check in with the artists. Ding, ding, Ray, Susan, are you there? What I'd
I'm
love
here.
to find out is, what do you miss about the studio? What are you so excited to get back to?
For me, I'm excited to get free coffee.
All right, free coffee. Susan, what do you
Yeah.
think?
I'm excited to get back to the art.
The art. Any particular piece?
Drawing.
Drawing. Wonderful. Thank you, guys.
You're
And
welcome.
check this out. Susan, this is one of your pieces that we're auctioning this year. This is one of your beautiful pieces. I love the movement and the colors. Do you want to talk about this for a little bit? Because you make drawings like this quite often.
I do. This is one of my awesome drawings that I did some time ago.
It's beautiful. And, you know, sometimes they have more color, sometimes they have less color. Can you talk about how you decide to make those color choices?
This one, I decided to put red into it because red is one of my favorite colors.
Oh, great. I don't know that I knew that it was your favorite color. That's awesome. Great. And then also I should mention that next year you're going to have a solo show at the Fort Wayne Museum of Art in Indiana. And we'll be able to present a lot of your drawings and your films. How do you feel about that?
I am totally excited.
And you're going to go. We're going to go and install your work, and you're going to do an artist talk at the museum. What do you think?
That'll be awesome.
Great.
So I'm kind of getting hungry. Is anyone getting hungry? Susan, Ray, are you guys getting hungry?
I'm hungry.
Are you hungry?
Yeah.
Well, you know what we're going to do is we're going to take a snack break with Chef Cal Petronell, filmed by his wife and creative growth studio instructor Kathleen Henderson. So let's take a little break and we'll come back soon. All right? Sound good?
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Cal Petronell, and I'm going to show you how to make a simple, delicious snack for your creative growth cocktail party. And it's going to be popcorn. Everyone loves it. I looked around for a long time to try and, I love popcorn, and I wanted it to be better. I felt like sometimes it was good, sometimes it was not so good. I got all different kinds of popcorn. That, it turned out, wasn't it. Although, I did find this one that's rainbow colored. That has like all different colored kernels, and this one is good. The secret to the best popcorn is use a lot of oil. So if I'm popping a third of a cup of popcorn, you're gonna be amazed at how much oil. Come in close here. So a third of a cup, you want to use a quarter cup of oil. This is just a mixture of grapeseed and olive oil. So you want to use a lot of oil. So that, and you don't have to measure it every time, but you want your corn kernels to be like really awash in oil like that. Okay, now I'm gonna pop it. I like to pop the popcorn the old-fashioned way, just in a pot on the stove with a lid so it doesn't go flying all over the place. I put it on high heat, and I wait for it to start popping, shake it once in a while, but that's kind of it. I think it's starting to pop. While the popcorn's popping, of course, the most interesting thing about what you do with your popcorn is what you put on top of the popcorn after you make it the best it can be with a lot of oil. So, I have a bunch of suggestions, but one is that you can toast some spices like cumin, coriander, and grind them up in your mortar and pestle, and then like mix the salt in with that. Here's the salt. So that you get this like spiced salt that you can sprinkle on there. See that? That's one option. Another option that we're going to do today is you make sort of like a Kacho Pepe thing with pecorino romano, black pepper, and some good olive oil that you pour over it instead of butter. Whoa, it's really popping. Okay, another one is you can start with some or all coconut oil to pop the corn in, and then when it comes out, you sprinkle on this stuff. Is amazing. Amateur powder. It's powdered dried mango, really delicious. And a little sweet, spicy pepper like Aleppo or Marash or Urfa, all really nice. Okay, the popcorn's ready. Okay.
Exciting.
So we're gonna have 2 flavors because there's 2 of us. And let's see. Okay. So for the Kacho Pepe, you just grate on your Pecorino Romano. You could use Parmesan or Verona. Toss it around a little bit. Grate on a bit more. Lots of black pepper. I never thought of putting black pepper, but then somebody turned me onto it, and it's going to need a little bit of salt, but maybe not as much as you would otherwise, because the cheese is sort of salty. And even though I put a good amount of oil in the pan to start with, I'm going to do a little good oil to finish with. Okay, that's one. Needs a little more salt. Tastes like Kacho Pepe. Okay, now the other one is with this. Usually I would have popped it in coconut oil, but I didn't. But it'll be good with this oil anyway. And you put a little of this, look at this stuff. Amchur powder. Sprinkle that around. Toss it on. A little more. And then salt, of course. And some of this slightly spicy, but not too spicy pepper. In this case, Aleppo. Toss it. Taste it. Tangy. Okay, there we go. 2 kinds of delicious popcorn. Simple, easy, satisfying. Everyone, have a great party. Happy times. Here's to creative growth. Reopening. Yeah!
Hello? Pamela! Hey, great! Oh, that's wonderful news. Thank you so much. Hey, everybody. We just got a $5,000 donation from Pamela Hornick, one of our great supporters and collectors. Get that thermometer moving up, please. Great.
Yay!
Thank you, Pamela. You know, and I have to say that art, for creative growth, art isn't just a powerful tool of self-expression. It's also a powerful tool for connection. And it's that connection and sense of community that is so important here at Creative Growth and for our artists. So we're really looking forward to our reopening fund, to reopening in July. So everybody, please keep calling in. Remember, the text is 56651, one word, creative growth. And we've got some incentives today, some great incentives. For those of you giving $500, we've got this beautiful from our archives, William Scott tote bag. This is actually from a collaboration that Creative Growth did with Marc Jacobs in 2010. This beautiful print of one of William's Skyline Friendly Organization paintings. So that's at the $500 level. At the $250 level, we've got this tote bag designed by Juan Aguilera. I don't know if you can see, but it has 2 of Juan's favorite things, underwear and flowers. So that's for those of you giving at the $250 level.
And at the $100 level, you'll receive an original Ray Vickers map. And Ray, da-ding, 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 da-ding. I want to ask about the bunnies. Tell me about the bunnies.
Well, it all started maybe 14 years ago. I was watching a show called Heroes, and all of a sudden I had this little, like a small ladder. It hit my freezer in my room. And once it hit the freezer, it had a dent, and the dent gave me an image of a rabbit. And then my show came back on from a commercial, and the guy killed a rabbit. And so the next day I start drawing rabbits, and that's when they start selling like crazy. So I decided a few months ago to start doing dead rabbit mask
That's
that people
awesome.
can, people can wear when they go to the store and stuff like that.
That's great. I love it. Thank you
Thanks.
so much, Ray.
You're welcome.
Thanks, everyone. So now we're going to take it all the way across the country to Miami to hear from Nina Johnson of Nina Johnson Gallery, who currently has a beautiful show, a group show of creative growth artists called Vibrant. This is the second show that Nina has presented, and she did a beautiful job. So let's take it away, Nina.
Hi, Creative Growth friends. I'm Nina Johnson. I'm the owner of Nina Johnson Gallery in Miami, and we're about to welcome Tom DeMaria here for the opening of our second collaboration with Creative Growth. I'm so honored to be participating with this organization. I was introduced several years ago by Kim Hostreiter on a trip to Oakland, California, and was absolutely taken by the magnificent work that I saw when we were able to visit not only the studios, but the Creative Growth Gallery. At the time, I was also able to attend the gala, which was so fun and lively, and it really kind of renewed my belief in unbelievable work impacting large audiences outside of what has become a very narrow art world. I immediately asked Tom if he wanted to come to Miami and do a show here, and he said yes. Our first exhibition, which was curated by Kim, was really successful. One of the things that touched me most was that we were able to sell works to a whole new audience that typically find what we're showing to be inaccessible. So some of our art handlers, some of our artists, many members of the community, and then we were also able to place works in extraordinary collections around the world, including with some other dealers, museum board members, and really avid contemporary art collectors. I wanted to stand here on this little video to you guys so that I could talk about one of my favorite artists that we're showing in this exhibition, which highlights 16 artists from Creative Growth, and that's Ron Beasy. The first piece that I bought from our last show was one of Ron's, and I think many of you know that Creative Growth is a little bit of an addiction, so once you buy one work, you'll end up continuing to support the artist over many years. And I just feel that Ron has such an exceptional way of depicting figures. He really is playing with these wonderful formal qualities, kind of hard line, silhouetted people that have such a strong graphic identity, and at the same time these really distinct personalities that come across in the work. There's multiple pieces by Ron in this show, but also several works by the 16 other artists. One of the other artists that I thought we could talk about today is Dan Miller. I was so moved to be able to hear Dan's sister speak at the gala that I attended. And what she spoke most kind of impressively about was the experience of seeing his work at the Venice Biennale, which is such an extraordinary achievement, and I think indicative of exactly the kind of triumphs that Creative Growth is able to achieve for their artists. Another one of my favorites, Joseph Ayleth. So we had incredible success with Joseph's work during our last show, and I think at the time Joseph was really a more emerging artist in the Creative Growth lexicon, but the style is so unique. You could never see a Joseph Ayleth work and not know that it's his. And people were really taken by his use of color, composition. The pieces are so, exquisitely developed. And I think, again, this issue of accessibility is so important. This work here is, an artist who I love for his approach to many different media. This particular work happens to be a work on paper, but when I first came across his practice, it was in his woodcut pieces. So that just gives you a little bit of a taste of what we're doing here with our show. It's an honor for me as a dealer to be able to work with Creative Growth, with Tom, and with so many exceptional artists. Specifically, to amplify what we think of as contemporary art and really be able to introduce these works to the audiences that come to the gallery.
Hello, hello, who's there? Hi, Stephen. Oh my goodness, really? $2,500? Yay, thank you so much, Stephen. Thank you so much. This is gonna make our day. Thank you so much.
Bye, Stephen.
Hey, Kari, can you tell us about this vision of loveliness right here?
Yes, I can.
Thanks.
This is part of the collection that I made last year as a visiting artist at the studio before we closed down. And it's one of 15 pieces, I think, that I worked with Creative Growth Textiles and different artists. And this is the Latifa Norzai, one of her portraits. Maybe you can see it. And usually they're on canvases, and this she did on a textile, and we made it into a coat. So this is on one of the auction items that you'll be able to bid on for, I think, through May 30th. So get your bids in. It fits a bunch of different sizes and can actually be tailored a bit. So it can fit an 8, 10, 12. So it's just a beautiful one-of-a-kind piece. And it's one of 2 textile pieces. The next one I'll try on next.
And you're welcome to come in and try it on. All of the artwork that's in the auction today that you see on your screen. The gallery will be open until May 30th, so do please come and check it out. Ray, Susan, are you there? Can you pick up your phones? Ray, Susan, hello, come in.
I'm here.
Hey.
Hey.
I'm here.
Are you still enjoying your popcorn?
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Great. So as artist at Creative Growth, can you tell us a little bit about why you think funding for the arts is important? Like, why is art important to you?
I feel like it's important so that Creative Growth can still, stay in business and still make money to support people with disabilities, from small, not just small disabilities, but all disabilities, to support them and during this hard, difficult times.
Great. Susan, what about you?
I think our Creative Growth needs to stay open for all of the artists who enjoy making art and keep the artists going.
Thanks, Susan. Thank you. Kari, I see you've had a little bit of a costume change. You want to tell us about this jacket?
Well, this is a Lulu Sotelo, and if you saw the dress that I was wearing earlier, those had the similar dolls that were actually kind of hand crocheted. And then this is a Levi's jacket, part of the Levi's collaboration, size medium.
Lovely. Beautiful shade of coral, too.
Thank you.
So now let's hear from Lulu about her fashion. We've had a great video for you today.
Lulu Sotelo, yo vivo a México y viene a Oca.
¿Y qué más nos quieres mostrar? ¿Tu vestido? Cuéntanos de ese vestido que tienes puesto.
Chavo, Papi, la chininera, ¿dónde está la chinina? Correcto, creo. La chininera acá.
Sí, está allá arriba la chilindrina, sí. ¿Y cuándo hiciste ese vestido, Lulu?
Allá en la escuela.
Ajá, y el que tienes puesto recién lo acabas de acabar, ¿verdad?
Chile.
Que es Lulu vestida con sus modas, ¿verdad?
La moda. Y acá la del otro. El vestido.
The thing with this dress is that Lulu painted herself wearing her own fashions. So it's like Lulu wearing Lulu.
La calaquita.
Este vestido es de Día de Muertos, ¿verdad?
Ajá, a puento, sí. A la calaca y toda hojita así pica. pita.
El papel picado.
Ajá, sí. Y
Es-
atrás el muñeco, el chavo, no sé qué.
Sí, 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 sí. Y si estás aquí, pues tu corona de plumas.
Ajá, la pura, ya sí yo quiero una para pura. A bailar.
Al
Así,
final del
a mí-
desfile de moda bailaste con este vestido, ¿verdad?
Ajá, todo.
Y Lulu, te gustan mucho las calacas y Día de Muertos, ¿verdad?
Sí, todo, la muerto y todo.
Ajá.
Sí,
Que
sí.
es una parte importante de tu cultura mexicana, ¿verdad?
Ajá, sí te valga.
¿En México celebrabas Días de Muertos de esta manera?
Ajá, sí, es que grabar todo, ahí mi cosa, muestras de chocolate, arroz, mole. Ay, qué rico.
Ay, qué rico, Lulu. Qué rico. Pues este vestido es espectacular. ¿Cómo cuánto te tardó hacer este vestido? Es muchísimo trabajo.
Mucho.
Sí, fue casi también como medio año, ¿verdad?
Sí, me raro.
Sí, sí, sí. ¿Quieres ver la siguiente foto?
¿Ves?
So Lulu just said that this dress is inspired by Day of the Dead, which is a very important Mexican tradition. And for Lulu, Day of the Dead is very important. She has a lot of family that has passed away. And she makes altars every year, which includes mole, chocolate, rice, pictures of her family. But she's really happy to see this dress because she feels like she's honoring all her family. ¡Qué bonito!
Qué bonito esta pintura.
Me encanta, me encanta.
Sí.
¿Y qué ondas con esta chamara?
La chamara, allá era la escuela, yo ya era ahí en la escuela.
Sí, pero ¿qué te inspiró, Lulu?
Toda la chininina y todo. La
Chico,
y Bore.
ñoño.
Ñoño, la aguja, la chininina y la popi chiquita.
Está muy bonito. So Lulu says that she did this jacket while she was at Creative Grove, and that she's inspired by the characters of Chavo del Ocho, like Chilindrina, Chavo del Ocho, La Bruja, Ñoño, Kiko. ¿Qué más? Y todos, and everybody.
Sí. Ahora bien.
Sí, te salió muy bien. A ver, Ludi, hasta la bye bye o adiós o achimama o no sé qué más. Diga achimama.
¡Ay, achimama! ¡Mamá, achimama! ¡Vámonos a comer! Bye. Bye.
Welcome back, everyone. Our phones have been ringing nonstop, so thank you so much for calling in. We've almost reached our goal, but we do need a few more gifts to get there. $500, another $500. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. This is going to be fabulous.
We're really doing it today, folks. Thank you. This is a great fun so far. We're almost there, but we still have a ways to go. So remember to text Creative Growth, one word, to 56651. Thanks, everyone. And you can see this beautiful artwork behind us, also available. You can start bidding on it now. Bidding closes at the end of the month, so you have 2 weeks for this beautiful, for instance, Regina Broussard. Thank you, Ryan. Right next to it, we have Dan Miller. Thank you, Ryan. And then we have an early drawing of Judith Scott. This is very rare. This is an amazing opportunity to get yourself a piece of Judith Scott's. And then right next to that, we have Donald Mitchell, one of his classic black and white paint drawings. We also have one more, this beautiful painting by Latifa Noorside. Same artist who is on the jacket
This is the same artist that was on the back of the jacket that I was just modeling. So this is one of her pieces that's actually framed and just a wonderful piece to put in your collection.
Thanks, everyone. There are 31 pieces total in the auction, and the gallery will be open. You can make appointments. It is totally COVID safe to come and visit and to check it out. I highly recommend seeing the artworks in person, but if you're not local, please look online. Everything is below you, and you're welcome to bid on it.
Ding, ding, Susan, Ray, come in, Susan, Ray.
Yes.
Yes.
What would you like to?
Oh, I feel like it's kind of like the more you, well, it's like, you know, being an artist is not easy, but when you see certain artwork, people see different things in the artwork. Like if I don't consider something art, then somebody else consider art. We all see art differently, no matter which way you look at it. It's not an easy thing. It can take hours and months, years, just to finish a simple to us, but difficult to somebody else artwork. So when you buy the work and you see it in person, it's like better in person when you see it.
Exactly. And what are you working on? Like when you come back to the studio, what's the first thing you're going to work on? Do you already have something in your mind?
I don't even remember the last thing I was working on when I was there, but probably I have been thinking of some new, like how I do these abstract, how I do their dead rabbits. I have been thinking of these 8-ball images with the faces and like a circle motion. I've been thinking of something like that recently.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I was at the dentist on Thursday. You know, I had the lights, and I looked at the lights, the round circle. And once I saw the round circle, I thought about one of my faces with an 8-ball in it, kind of like in a pattern, maybe even a mask or something, but I'm not sure yet. Because art to me is everywhere I go.
And then Susan, what are you going to work on? Are you going to continue working on your quilt, or do you have a couple new ideas?
I have a couple new ideas.
Tell me. Can you tell me them?
I'm gonna try to work on a new dress.
A new dress. Do you know what kind of color it's going to be, or what length, or anything?
It's probably gonna be a small new dress.
Wonderful.
Hello? Yes? Susan, somebody just bid on your work. The black and red piece. Thank you. Awesome. All right, everybody, we're doing it. We're moving it. Next, we're going to hear a speech from William Scott. This is a very unusual piece. We were actually filming another artist in our gallery, and William Scott happened to be visiting that day and got up as we were filming and made this incredibly gorgeous, beautiful speech about himself and his artwork. We do have a piece of William's in the auction today. It's one of his architecture pieces, which is quite rare. It's very beautiful. It's a plan for Disneywood for one of the buildings. I highly recommend reading some more about this piece. It's a very unusual one, so don't forget to bid. And William Scott recently had a great solo show at Ortizar Gallery in New York. And in the fall there will be a retrospective of his work at Studio Voltaire in London, which will travel on to Sweden after that. So let's hear from William. Hello? Great. Susan, Ray, come in. Susan and Ray, come in.
I'm here.
I can get my phone to pick up. Hello?
Hi. Before we say goodbye to our audience, is there anything else you want to add? Is there anything else you want to tell our audience about creative growth today?
Satisfaction, when you see the action, satisfaction for your action.
Satisfaction for your action? I love it.
Creative growth it's a great place to make art.
Great. Thanks, Susan. Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Bid. Enjoy the auction. Enjoy the video. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to be on the Apple Sheen commercials in Another Life of 1974. but I will be a Billy the Kid in another life, to be born again, born good, to be a basketball player in 1970s and 80s. I'm going to be a church choir in 1981, to make friends to church people in 1981, another life. When another life comes, I will be in 1981, the future of 1981, to be in the praise team, of the youth praise team, and being the youth praise team. But I will be doing the praise team in 1981, where I'll be born again, when I'll be a teenager again in another life. In the future, I will be a teenager in another life. But I will be a basketball kid in another life. I will be wearing an afro. I will be wearing a big afro, to be going to Rose Olivet Baptist Church, to be in the youth choir on the Bay Shore in San Francisco in another life. We need Skyline people. We need a Skyline-friendly organizations to replace the evils and aliens and monsters, to be replaced of a wholesome, to put the wholesome on the planet, to put the wholesome people on the outer space, put the wholesome on the outer space of inner skyline, wholesome encounters of wholesome people, to bring people's lives back, to raise up the dead people, to bring them back to life. I'm going to be a peacemaker of artists, to draw some more SFOs of wholesome encounters, to be bringing people's lives back who lost their lives of coronavirus and COVID-19. We need to bring lots of people back. We need to bring them back by Skyline people, of a good people, without COVID-19. In 20th century, I hope COVID-19 will not be coming back again in another life of 2020 and 2021. No more COVID-19, no more coronavirus. Because people are going back to normal.
Oh, I love that.
They will be going back to normal when the COVID-19 is over with, to be bringing a better people back, to be bringing people back to life, of a good spirit, of a good Lord, of Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 All right.